Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to 24 Chambers of Film. I'm Steven, and today we got another top 10 list, top 10 ranking. This is the top 10 raunchy comedies. I'm a big fan of comedies, especially raunchy comedies. If it's not hard R, raunchy comedies, it's going to be hard for it to be one of my favorites. There's some great PG-13 comedies, don't get me wrong, that kind of teeter on that, rated R or not, but like Austin Powers, those are great PG-13 comedies. I mean, I love the Three Amigos. I think that's a PG, probably a PG-13, but I think at the time it rated PG. Yeah, I love raunchy comedies. What can I say? There's so many good ones. This was a very tough list to compile. I try to keep it kind of diverse with my selection, not try to put too many of the same directors movies in there, kind of mix it up a little bit, but this is kind of the list is kind of my criteria for the list is obviously has to be raunchy, but also I'm making sure it's not like what's the most raunchiest, top 10. It's what's the best raunchy comedies, meaning the movie itself has to be, the story and stuff has to be like what I really dig, besides it being, definitely a raunchy film. So yeah, let's get right into it. Number 10. Okay, this is a film that I think a lot of people hate, but I think a lot of people do like it. It's called Strange Wilderness, directed by Fred Wolf. This came out in 2008. It has a stellar cast, has a bunch of funny people in it. It has Justin Long, Jonah Hill, Steve Zahn, what's his name, Alan Covert, Kevin Heffernan from Super Troopers, which is another one that's just a great raunchy comedy film, which is not on the list. But yeah, Strange Wilderness, such a stoner comedy film. Some of the most such a nonsensical movie. It literally, like, at the end of the movie they're just like fuck it, and don't even give a shit about what makes sense or not. Forewarning, spoilers ahead, of course. But yeah, it's so ridiculous. If you want to, the best way to watch this movie is, light up a J, and then just let it consume you. It is fucking hilarious. I think it's hilarious, of course. It got critically panned when it came out, but it looked like it was one of the funnest movies to ever be filmed. I feel like the behind the scenes must have been a fucking blast. These guys must have been just cracking jokes all day. It looks like a fun movie. Like, the movie was fun to make. Yeah, Jonah Hill's amazing in this movie. He's one of the funniest characters, one of his funniest performances. Probably doesn't get talked about enough because the movie was, not a success and got critically panned. So it kind of came and went. Yeah, it's just a fucking great movie. I think in the terms of, like, raunchy comedies, I think it's just hilarious. And it's a movie that is just so easy to watch. You could turn it on at any point in the movie and you'll be hit with some good joke or some good gag. Yeah, Steve Zahn's great. Justin Long gives another great comedic performance. I think there's so many funny scenes in this movie. One of the raunchiest scenes, I'll give it. So one of the raunchiest scenes for sure is when Steve Zahn is going to pee. They're out, they're trying to, basically the plot of this movie, they're trying to find Bigfoot. They're trying to save their dying wilderness show, and they get a tip that Bigfoot is real, and they get the locations from this guy, and they're racing against time so they don't get beat by a bigger network, their rivals, to capture Bigfoot, to get the footage of Bigfoot. So they're on their way, and so, it's a road movie as well. So then, Steve Zahn has to take a leak, and then this freaking, was it chicken or an ostrich or something, some fucking chicken, a peacock. I think that's it. It's a peacock, I'm pretty sure. You know, while he's peeing, sucks, clamps on his penis, and yeah, there's a great practical effect of this freaking whatever it is, a chick. I can't remember if it's a chicken or a or what's the sorry, I'm going blank here. Anyways, this chicken freaking is sucking on his thing, and he has to go into the hospital, and they have to get it out. It's just a funny scene. It's very kind of graphic when they show the practical chicken, with his thing in his mouth. It's just hilarious, and they have to like stroke its neck to get it to get it off to get it off him. Yeah, hilarious film. There's so many great scenes when they see Bigfoot. I'm not gonna go into it, but when they find Bigfoot, one of the funniest fucking things ever. Yeah, highly recommend it. It's definitely a movie that you could just kind of turn off your brain and just let it consume you, and you'll get. I guarantee to laugh. You're guaranteed to laugh at least multiple times. It's so absurd. Great stoner comedy road trip film. But yeah, Strange Wilderness. Number 9 is Clerks 2. Kevin Smith's Clerks 2, 2006, the sequel to the highly critically acclaimed indie film Clerks. A lot of people kind of were worried about this when it came out. They were like, "This is just gonna suck. Like, why are they doing a sequel?" Which is fair, you know. Did Clerks really need a sequel? No, but I'm so happy they did a sequel because Clerks 2 is one of the funniest films. It's the best in the trilogy. I love Clerks, but this is more polished and the humor is just even better in my opinion. Kevin Smith does a great job. One of the best sequels of all time, in my opinion. Everyone's great. Jason Mewes is on a next level with his comedic performance in this film. Jeff Anderson as Dante, not Dante. Jeff Anderson as Randall is fucking hilarious. He's so good. His performance is probably the standout in my opinion. Dante's great too. You know, Rosario Dawson as Becky, she's great. Like, it's just a great ensemble cast. Ben Affleck's in it. Jason Lee is hilarious. His whole bit is great. They call him Pickle Flucker in it. It's just a great. They're working at movies now, you know. So the quick stop lights on fire. So that gets shut down. So a year later, they're working at movies, you know. And then Dante is about to leave because he's got a fiance, and it's like the last day before he leaves and moves to a different I think state and all that stuff. But of course that creates issues with his friendship with Randall, and he's also in love with Rosario Dawson, their manager at movies. Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good. There's a great little musical number in there with the Jackson 5. I mean, there's so many great moments in this scene. Oh, and then Elias, the new character that gets introduced, another new character that gets introduced in the sequel, Elias. Trevor Fairman, he's great. But there's Wanda Sykes is in it. She's great in it. There's so many goddamn good moments. I think one of the most iconic scenes to me is just the whole debate between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Just the whole thing, and just how Randall's talking about how it's just like it should have ended with Frodo and Sam, or Frodo just breaking in Sam's face, or vice versa. Which would have been a great ending. I think it would have been hilarious. But just that whole scene, just him reenacting like what Lord of the Rings is. It's just them walking in 3 movies. Such a great scene. The scene with, like I said, Jason Lee, just talking about him and his past, Pickle Fucker. The scene with Wanda Sykes with the whole racial slur and stuff like that being talked about. It's just a great sequence with Earthquake. Her husband's played by Earthquake, I'm pretty sure, in it, if I'm correct. Or no, what's his name? Yeah, Earthquake. Yeah, he's in it. He's great in it. But yeah, so many great moments. I mean, it's just super raunchy too, which and it's done well. It's done well, and Randall brings a lot of the raunch, of course. The whole thing about pillow pants with the character of Elias is one of the funniest things ever. Yeah, so pillow pants, great. So many great scenes. Yeah, Clerks 2, number 9. So number 8 is Waiting, directed by Rob McKittrick. Came out in 2005. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Justin Long. Has a great cast. Anna Faris is in it. Who else is in it? David Koechner is in it. Luis Guzman, Chai McBride, John Francis Daly. Just a great ensemble. Dane Cook's in it. I mean, it is stacked. You know, a lot of people before they were super well known are in this movie. Ryan Reynolds, I think it's his funniest performance to date still. I don't care what anybody says. He's great in a lot of movies, but this is his best comedic performance. His character is super controversial, of course. Definitely not PC. Definitely not for I guess the times, you know, of nowadays. He definitely would have been This definitely would have been problematic as hell if this movie came out in 2024. Nevertheless, this movie's hilarious. It has a lot of great moments. Justin Long's great, but he's playing like the straight man, so he doesn't get the most. It's not like a great comedic performance by him, but he has his moments. Ryan Reynolds is definitely a standout performance here. But yeah, Waiting, so many great things in it. I mean, it's about basically just a slice of life of these guys, of these restaurant employees working at this place called Shenanigans, this restaurant, and just so long as like the main character, and you're kind of, he's kind of dealing with, what is he going to do with his life, he's been working at this restaurant, his mom's been kind of hassling him, so like, what are you graduated, you haven't done anything with it, what are you going to do? So that's kind of like the main story of it, but really it's just about these people and their interactions at this restaurant that they've been working there, and their camaraderie. One of the most iconic things in the film is the penis showing game. They're showing each other's. They try to catch each other they try to catch one of the employees by showing their penis to them in some type of position. They got the goat. They got the bat wing. They got various positions to kind of get you off guard, and it's just a hilarious bit. Yeah, it's just Andy Milonakis is in this. There's just a lot of great actors in this movie, and it's hilarious. It doesn't get talked about it enough. I think Ryan Reynolds is low key ashamed of this movie just because how raunchy and how non PC it is. But it's great. It's so good. It's one of those movies that you could just put on, and it just flows by quickly, and you can watch any scene and you'll find some humor in it. Definitely some gross out stuff in it for sure. Best scene in the movie for me is when Ryan Reynolds is talking to Justin Long's character, and then Ryan Reynolds' mom gets brought back, and then they go into a flashback of Justin Long at dinner with Ryan Reynolds and his mom, which is Wendy Malick is her name. Yeah, with them at dinner, and it is fucking hilarious. Yeah, that's all I say. It's so good. Their back and forth is just beautiful to watch. But yeah, that's number 8. Waiting. Go watch it. Underrated film. Doesn't get enough appreciation, in my opinion. Number 7 is Scary Movie 2, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans. Came out in 2001. It's the sequel to the very successful and great film in itself, Scary Movie. This one kind of deals with a parody on haunted supernatural films like The Exorcist, The Haunting, Legend of Hill House, Legend of Hell House. I mean, what else? Poltergeist, stuff like that. Yeah, it's so hilarious. It's just such a great raunchy film, just like the original. I mean, so many great scenes in it. I mean, the acting, like Anna Faris, Regina Hall, Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Christopher Masterson, David Cross, Kathleen Robertson, Tori Spelling, Tim Curry, Chris Elliott, James Woods, Andy Richer, Veronica Cartwright, Natasha Lyonne. I mean, there's just a great list of actors in this film. They're all fucking hilarious. They all have their moments. Tim Curry he's not in it a lot, but he's so goddamn funny. And then, of course, Chris Elliott and David Cross just have a great back and forth, and they're just two of the greatest characters ever in a movie. They're just hilarious. Just Chris Elliott's character, the Hanson, the caretaker, his freaking little hand. I mean, it never gets old. It's so funny. And then, of course, you got one of the best comedic performances in the first one and in the second one here. Shawn Wayans as Ray. He is one of the funniest characters ever, and his performance is just, he knocks it out the park, of course. He's hilarious. The whole tucked in, tucked out is one of the funniest things of all time, in my opinion. And then also the best scene, or I guess my favorite scene, is the dinner table scene when Hanson, the caretaker, Chris Elliott, comes out to give him the turkey and just dinner, and it just goes completely terrible. And it's a really gross and hilarious scene. Yeah, there's so many great moments in this film. Anna Faris, one of the best comedic actors of all time. She's so good at just not giving a fuck on how she's gonna be, how goofy she's gonna get, or maybe how stupid she's gonna look. She just fully commits, and that's what I love about this movie in general, is just that all the actors are fully committing into to the absurdity of this film, But yeah, great film. Highly recommended. If you haven't seen Scary Movie 2, go watch it. It's one of the best sequels for sure. Number 6 is another parody film called Not Another Teen Movie. Making fun of the rom-com teen comedies, coming of age films of the 90s and some of the 80s. And this movie is just hilarious. Also, another great cast, but probably the most notable is Chris Evans, Captain America, which is one of his best performances ever in any film. He is so good. This film doesn't get talked about enough anymore, but it was a great hit when it came out. Definitely one of the best parody films of all time. I mean, who's in it? Jamie Presley's in it. Eric Christian Olsen's in it. Mr. T's in it. There's just a lot of great cameos in it as well. But Richmond's in it. Ron Lester from Varsity Blues. But yeah, just a great cast. Randy Quaid's in it. I mean, it's basically taking She's All That and then with 10 Things I Hate About You, 10 Things I Hate About You and Breakfast Club and all those things. But the main basis of the film is She's All That. And it's just, it's so hilarious. Chris Evans, he's a popular quarterback, jock guy. And then Siler Lee is playing, Janie Briggs, basically the not the She's All That main character that Rachel Lee Cook plays. And yeah, and basically, it's the plot of She's All That. They're gonna turn someone who's quote unquote ugly or not popular into prom queen. So, but that scene is hilarious in Not Another Teen Movie. Anyways, but yeah, the movie has so many great scenes. God, what's the best scene? What I think is the best scene in the film? I mean, I think the party scene is probably one of the funniest things ever. There's a character who has Tourette's. She's a cheerleader, and Eric Christian Olsen comes up to her, and the Tourette's kicks in, and it is fucking hilarious. Just everything, that whole party scene it's just great. Which also has an actor from the film Waiting. What's his name? Sam Levine's in this too, by the way. He's great. What's that actor's name from Waiting? Who's also in here, but he's great. He plays like the guy who's hosting the party. But what's his name? Is it Rob? Yeah, Rob Benedict. That guy, he's so good. In his little quick, he only has like a few scenes, but his main scene in Not Another Teen Movie, killer. He knocks it out the park. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everybody, even the smallest roles in these, especially in these parody films like Scary Movie 2, Scary Movie 1, and Not Another Teen Movie, they all fucking deliver, and they nail it. It's just another great parody film. I miss the era of parody films that were actually like good and put like effort into the filmmaking and stuff like that and into the gags. Definitely a subgenre that's on the DL to say the least. Hopefully, someone will bring it back and do another type of scary movie or just another parody of something and make it hilarious. So yeah, that is number 6, Not Another Teen Movie. Let's go on to the top 5. Number 5 is Scary Movie, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans. Came out in the year 2000. It was a cultural, phenomenon. This movie was great. It's the apex of parody films, in my opinion. It's basically riffing off Scream mainly, the slasher films from the 90s. Not another teen movie. Scream, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. Those films in particular are like the basis of this movie, especially Scream. But yeah, it's basically the plot of Scream times 10 in the absurdity scale. And it's so good. Like I said, Anna Faris is in this, Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, John Abrams, Regina Hall, Shannon Elizabeth, Carmen Electra. Just a great cast. I mean, everybody's so good. Rick Duncombe, I don't know how I'm pronouncing his last name, but he plays Cindy's dad, and he's in The Burbs, which is one of my favorite family horror films. But anyways, how do you pronounce it? Rick Duncombe? I don't know, but he's great. He's hilarious. But yeah, there's so many great scenes in this movie. I mean, just everything with Sean Wayne's is like gold, comedic gold in my opinion. And Shorty, Marlon Wayne's, it's just they're all fucking hilarious. And Anna Faris is just, she came out that she was unknown at this time, and she came out on the scene. You're like, damn. Anybody who says women can't be funny, watch Anna Faris in Scary Movie. She is just as funny as anybody, and Regina Hall, just as funny as anybody. They are so good. I mean, great comedic performances across the board, even from the little ones to the main ones. I mean, it's so great. It has a great ending too for a parody movie. It has a really good twist ending. What's his name? Dave Sheridan. He's playing Officer Deputy Doofy. What can you say? He just gives one of the best performances, comedic performances ever. He's so good. It's so crude, but it's so great. Yeah, Scary Movie. If you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it. First, make sure you watch Scream and then watch Scary Movie. At least watch Scream. You can watch I Know What You Did Last Summer and all those, but Scream is the main basis to the film, as well as like Not Another Teen Movie. Make sure you watch She's All That. And then with Scary Movie 2, make sure you watch The Legend of Hell House and The Haunting. You'll really get an idea of what they're going for, But yeah, Scary Movie, fucking comedic masterpiece, parody masterpiece. Maybe one day they can come back, bring the Wayans brothers to do another Scary Movie. It'd be fucking great. They should just call it Scary Movie Reboot and do it on Elevated Horror. It'd be hilarious. Number 4 is Something About Mary, one of the best raunchy rom-coms ever. This movie, directed by the Farrelly brothers, came out in 1998. Stars Cameron Diaz, Matt Dillon, Ben Stiller, Chris Elliott from Scary Movies in this. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. This movie is so goddamn good, so hilarious, so many great jokes throughout. One of the best openings, opening 15 minutes 20 minutes of a movie. It's just so good. Ben Stiller is basically, in high school he almost got to go on a date with Mary, who's played by Cameron Diaz. They were going to go to prom. Something horrible happens that involves him not going to prom and having to go to the hospital. So yeah, he basically, she got away, she ends up moving away, and he never got to get a real chance with her. So he's still obsessed with her years later. His best buddy's Chris Elliott, and he hires a PI to track her down, to see if he can rekindle and maybe have a second chance if she's available. And Matt Dillon is the PI, and gives one of the best performances ever. He's absolutely a hoot in this film. He's fucking hilarious. And then Matt Dillon ends up falling in love with Mary. And it's a whole fiasco where there's a bunch of people in love with Mary. Basically, it's a film about stalkers in love with this girl, and packaged up in a nice raunchy rom-com. It's so good. I mean, so many great moments. I think what's my favorite moment? There's so many goddamn good moments in this. Obviously, the opening is so great with Ben Stiller, and the issue that happens with him in there is hilarious. With Keith David is Mary's dad. Stepdad in it. He's a great actor, and I wish he was in the film more in some way. W. Earl Brown is Mary's brother. He's special needs, and he's also the cameraman in Scream, and he's great in it. But I think my favorite scene is when Matt Dillon is trying to shoot his shot with Cameron Diaz, and he's actually like pretending to be this architect and all this stuff, and just the whole interaction is hilarious. Definitely not PC, but it's the delivery of Matt Dillon is spot on. It's flawless in my opinion. But anyways, go watch this movie. It's hilarious. You won't be disappointed. Go watch it. And you haven't seen it, I don't know what to tell you. You need to go watch this right away. The number 3 film is Happiness. This film, directed by Todd Solondz, 1998. This is a comedy about lonely people. Multiple stories are all interconnected. They're all searching for love. It's definitely this is the definition of a dark comedy. This movie's fucked up to the max. I mean, but it's genius film, masterpiece. it doesn't have a good. It doesn't have like it's hard to find. You can't find it on streaming. It has only a DVD, but even that's hard to get. It doesn't have a Blu-ray, but luckily we've been blessed this year. This year, the Criterion Collection in September is releasing Happiness in 4K, and I'm so happy. I am so fucking happy about that. I saw this movie like a long time ago when it had its DVD. And this movie's fucked up. It is so brutal. I mean, I don't want to go into details about this movie because it's a movie best to watch it just like, not knowing what's going to happen yet, not what's going to happen, but it basically, you follow multiple characters. You have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's phenomenal in this movie. Jane Addams, she's great. Dylan Baker, who plays one of the most controversial characters in my opinion. It's just kudos to him for taking this role. This is not a role that most people would have taken, but he takes it, he runs with it, and he delivers. I mean, he is phenomenal in the movie. Just a great cast. Laura Flynn Boyle, known from Twin Peaks, she is amazing in it. She's looking great as always, at least at that time. Was gonna say, who else is in it? Ben Gazzara is in it. Molly Shannon, John Lovitz. I mean, it's just a great cast all around. Definitely not a single dull moment, in my opinion. You are captivated from the opening to the end. And you're just, a fly on the wall, and watching these people's lives just interconnect, and just the fucking secondhand embarrassment that you feel in this movie is on the next level. But it's just brutal. It's brutal. It's devastating, but it's at the same time immensely hilarious. I mean, it has one of the best endings, one of the best needle drop endings of all time, in my opinion. It's a masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, go watch it when you can. It'll be available in September. I think the end of September. Criterion Collection. Go buy it. Just blind purchase it. Go buy it. The less you know, the better. But it's a great film. I got to see this at the New Beverly last year for my close to my birthday. They were showing it. I took some people to see it, and they hadn't seen it, and boy, they liked it overall. But man, they were not expecting that type of film. That's for sure. They were definitely speechless at the end of it. But great crowd, beautiful scene in 35 millimeter. Todd Solondz, one of our best filmmakers. Looking forward to his next film. If you're not familiar with his work, go check out his work. He's a talented filmmaker. Yeah, Happiness. Number 2 on the list is Dogma by Kevin Smith, 1999. This is a great film, a religious masterpiece, comedic masterpiece to be exact. Basically, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon are in this film. They play these exiled angels, and they found a loophole to get back into heaven. And then the Metatron, the voice of God, played by the great Alan Rickman. He, taps the last scion, which is a descendant from Christ, and her and a group of people need to stop Ben Affleck and Matt Damon from going through these arches of this church, so they don't undo existence. It is hilarious. You got Chris Rock, you got Selma Hayek, you got, of course, Jay and Silent Bob, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, and yeah, it's a great film. It's just a great road trip movie, and God, this movie just lands like hits after hits. It's just the greatest hits of Kevin Smith, I feel like. So many great moments, so many great jokes. There's not a false note, in my opinion. Kevin Smith really took his directing to the next level in this film, because there's some, crazy violent stuff that he has to do, but he really elevated his game in this movie. Unfortunately, this film, I have the Blu-ray of this film, which I was lucky I got it when it initially came out, but since the whole Weinstein scandal happened, this film's been held up. But hopefully soon, Kevin Smith will be able to get the rights to it and be able to, release a 4K or something, because this movie needs to be released, updated physical media version of it, because this movie needs to be owned by everybody. It's that fucking good. Yeah. My favorite Kevin Smith movie out of all his films. This movie's just hilarious on many levels. Just also an interesting and unique plot. Um, it definitely riled up a lot of feathers when it was released, but it still did pretty good in the box office. I think it was a successful return for Kevin Smith for sure. Definitely I think his biggest budget movie, or one of the biggest. Definitely at the time, it was the biggest budget film that he had done. But yeah, this film is just so nostalgic for me, but it holds up. It's fucking holds up. It's so good. So many great moments. Um, Great cast. Jason Lee's in it. What can you say? I mean, I think it's quintessential Kevin Smith with a little religion thrown in there, and it works beautifully. So yeah, if you haven't seen Dogma, watch it. I think you can find it somewhere online. But unfortunately, I think if they do, someone has the DVD, they're selling it on eBay for like a gang load of money, which you don't need to spend. But I think soon we're gonna get a updated release on the physical media end, and then it'll be available hopefully on streaming platforms, so more people can watch this film, because it's it's underwatched in my opinion. It needs more attention. It's that good. Okay, number one is The 40-Year-Old Virgin. One of my favorite films ever. This is one of the best raunchy rom-coms of all time. Probably the best, in my opinion. It's that fucking good. You got the coming out party of Steve Carell and many other great comedians like Paul Rudd, Romy Malco, Seth Rogen, Elizabeth Banks, Leslie Mann. Like these people had been in the industry already, but this was like their coming out party. It felt like to me. Jonah Hill, not really his coming out party, but he's in the movie for a little quick bit. Catherine Kinnear, you just a great cast. You got Jerry Bednob, that guy's fucking hilarious. Plays Moosh in the film. So many great actors in this movie. So many great performances. Just a great ensemble. Everybody's delivering. I mean, to me, the person that steals the show in The 40-Year-Old Virgin is Romany Malco. I mean, it blows my mind that he didn't blow up way more after this movie, because he should have been casted in everything. I don't know if that was something on his end where he was kind of being more selective of what he was doing, but his performance is one of the greatest comedic performances of all time, in my opinion. It's comedy gold pretty much every time he's on screen. Likewise with Steve Carell. I mean, it fits the role perfectly. He co-wrote it with Judd Apatow, and Judd Apatow is, this was his coming out party too. He did great. I mean, he was known for Freaks and Geeks, but this was his first directed film. He also produced, Anchorman. But yeah, this was the one that really, put him on the map and really made him the face of this type of comedy in the 2000s. I mean, he was just coming out with bangers, whether it was producing or, him directing or writing the film. And yeah, this is his best movie still, in my opinion. But I like all his other films too. I love This Is 40. I love Knocked Up. I love Trainwreck. Whether you like Amy Schumer or not, Trainwreck is fucking hilarious. The King of Staten Island's great too. I'm not even a big Pete Davidson fan, but that movie's well done. But yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin got so many great scenes. I love the whole Kevin Hart cameo in this. Is one of the funniest things Kevin Hart's ever done. I think it's the funniest thing Kevin Hart's ever done. But that cameo scene with Kevin Hart, Romany Malco squaring off is so good. Obviously the poker scene where everybody finds out he's a virgin. Boner Jams 03, Paul Rudd. It's just the unrated version is even better than the theatrical. The theatrical version is great. Even if you don't watch the unrated version, you'll get all the laughs. You get a lot of great jokes still through the theatrical, but the unrated version is just even better. It's usually not like, I feel like mostly when they add extended cuts or unrated, it doesn't really make much of a difference. But you can't go wrong with either one, with the theatrical or the unrated. They're both equally great. I think I prefer the unrated because there's some scenes that are cut out that are so good that I'm like, oh, why'd they cut that out? But yeah, it's a comedic masterpiece. It's just a great film in general. Yeah, they don't make them like this, in my opinion. They need to go back to the raunchy comedies, especially raunchy rom-coms. I miss those, and this was a great era for raunchy comedies, the 2000s. And yeah, so yeah, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005, directed by Judd Apatow. If you have not seen it, go watch it right now after this video, or you know, come back and watch it. Yeah, it's so good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's an amazing film. It's a comfort movie now at this point for me. I put it on, it makes me feel better. I don't know why. It just does. It's so good. Yeah. So yeah, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, number one of the best raunchy comedy films of all time, in my opinion, is The 40-Year-Old Virgin. So go check it out. If you haven't seen it, go support it. It always deserves more attention, because even then, I feel like people know it, but it needs to get more attention. That's how fucking good it is. So yeah, that is my list of the top 10 raunchy um, comedies of all time for me. This is my opinion, of course, but it is the right opinion. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what's your favorite, if you like these movies or if you don't like these movies, which is fine. Let me know why you don't like them. Don't just tell me I don't like these movies or this list is trash. Give me some reasons, all right? And if you do like it, let me know what's your favorite one, or what's your order of my list, or give me your top 10. Let's start a conversation in the comments. All right, everybody. Yeah, 24 Chambers of Film. More content coming our way. So yeah, peace.